I have to be honest with all of you. I try to do this video and I tried for like 5 times and I literally have to stop, walk away, just walk away. Because I was getting upset as I was making the video, as I was going on. And I mean, I'm being for reals. And the reason why I was getting upset was because prepping essentially is just part of life for a lot of us. And we prepare for real threats. Is something that can happen on any given day. You can literally lose your job, and you can be laid off, and because they're just downsizing, and without income, the bills will pile up. So we prepare for that. We get a little safe nest, if you will. We talk about power outages all the time. It can happen. Storms can come in. I mean, if you live in a hurricane area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who live in a hurricane area experience this, I think, more than most. If you live in an area where you get heavy snow, you will experience this. So power outages are real. Medical emergencies are real. Broken bones, infections. You don't know how many times I have heard folks say, I have thousands of rounds and they don't have a single antibiotic. It's mind-boggling. So when I see the conversation going into those events that have less than 10% chance of happening, it just blows my mind. In those events with less than 10%, and you can do your own research if you want to, an EMP has it less than 10% to happen. World War III, less than 10% happen. Zombie outbreak falls into this. World-ending meteor, less than 10%. Yes, it's okay to consider these events, but in the greater scheme of things, if we're just going to focus on that 10% and ignore the other 90%, are we preparing? Or are we just preparing for, let's just call it for what it is. Are we just focusing on the fantasy? On the cool thing? Because, we fantasize if an AMP happened, it would trigger max events, like, everything is going to go crazy. A meteor hitting the earth, max extinction, all of these fantasies based on movies. And this is why I got so upset as I was doing the previous take. And I literally walk away. Because I see so many comments and folks, giving me examples based on movies. And I want everybody to take this to heart. When we talk about movies, they are nothing more than entertainment. Nothing more than entertainment. They will put a disclaimer. This movie is based on possible real life events. But again, it is a movie. They exaggerate things in order for you to go and watch it. Unfortunately, nowadays, the majority of people live in this little bubble called society. Even if you live in the middle of nowhere, right over there, like in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the mountains, whatever you are, you still come to town. You still are part of that society. Because society is nothing more than this that we have. So you are still part of that society, whether you like it or not. If you have a phone, you are part of it. If you have a checking account, you are part of it. If you have a job, you are part of it. So there's no reason for you to start going down the rabbit hole and, throwing rocks at me when I'm just pointing out what is effect. But nonetheless, even if you are remote, off the grid, and all of that, you still are within that society, and that society has made our life really, really good, really good. And because of it, we don't often share what other countries have to deal with: hunger, power outages, diseases, malnutrition, all of those things that it is very common in other countries. We here in America are very shielded from it because we have it good. So a lot of folks focus on the fantasy, and I just gonna call it fantasy because as a person who actually had lived in a third world country, born and raised in a third world country, I can tell you that there is a huge difference between fasting and going hungry. A huge difference. You can stop fasting at any given time. Going hungry, there is nothing for you to eat. There is a big difference of you switching the light off and exercising, a blackout scenario. There's a difference in that, and the difference of you hitting that switch and there's nothing. You have no choice. The other side, you can just turn it back on and that's it. You end the experiment. You see what I'm saying? So for all intended purposes, SHTF, very few people have experienced it as a true, there's nothing you can do. You get what I'm saying? So why are we focusing mainly on the 10% and ignoring the other ones? Well, the other ones are just boring. It's everyday type of things. So it's just boring. I mean, you're breaking a bone. Oh my God. Now you have to be, you have to have a cast on, and you won't be able to attend to your garden. So you may lose all your tomatoes, all your cabbages, all your potatoes. Huh. So what are you planning for that? You see? But let's focus better on a zombie outbreak. It's better to have our shiny machete out and just, we are just going around and pretending this something that... Have you ever seen a zombie? Now, I know some folks are going to say, well, you remember that case in Florida? The guy was eating some other dude or biting some other dude because he was... they thought that he was a zombie, and in Haiti they had this called zombify, and the guy in Florida was under influence of apparently something weird, and the other stuff, the other voodoo stuff, do your own research on it. You can't come in here and I always point out to movies and folklore. It's really hard for that argument to be made when there is no backing up, with real facts. The same thing goes like maybe why people go into this 10%, event so much is because the constant conspiracy. And I know what a lot of folks always say. Well, it's only a conspiracy until it's proven right. There is a difference between conspiracy 24/7 and healthy, what I call it, not trusting everything they say. You get what I'm saying? I have a healthy distrust of what they say. But if we always going to go through that rabbit hole, down and down, it's like, one thing that when I was outside thinking, I was like, if I always go down that rabbit hole and conspiracy and whatnot, why did I spend so many thousands of dollars getting a higher education? What for? If I'm going to throw it all away, because everything that I study, everything that I learn and whatnot, they're useless. So they have to be a middle ground somewhere. Now, the other issue is that you chasing the low probability threats is going to cost you. You're probably going to stockpile gear that you may never use. So that is money that you could have put in something that you could be using right now for that other 90% of events. You may neglect what real crises are going on around you. Civil unrest could be real. I mean, you have seen the riots, you have seen the protests. Absolutely. Civil war, the likelihood of civil war is less than 10%. The likelihood of the president sending troops to our streets, oh wait, that's already happening. That is part of the 90%. Why not being prepared for all of those things? You see what I'm saying? So why not prepare on the let's have food, let's have water, let's have shelter, let's have our medical, let's have our heat. Winter is around the corner. And we continuously talking about other things, and we are ignoring winter. Once people start getting cold, things are going to change. Once that white stuff start falling, and it is falling already here, things are going to change. I hope to be wrong. I truly do. Because I definitely want a good winter. But if we face a bad winter this year, we face shortages in our shelves. And we have seen that. That is part of that 90%. If we face power outages, and we have seen that. We have seen that in the past. And we face no heat, folks are going to be in trouble simply enough because all they're doing is chasing that 10%, that fantasy of, I want to prepare for a zombie apocalypse. I want to prepare for the end of the world. We cannot continue going down this path. We have to reel things in and focus on what really matters. That 10% is cool. It is attention grabbing. It brings people in because it's that is more relatable with movies, and that is what we are all accustomed to. Movies, because we have been given everything. Our necessities are all fulfilled. So don't get upset with what I just said. Think about it and let me know down in the comment section below if you think that we should focus more on the 90% real scenarios that can affect you immediately, or the ones who are very likely may never affect you. With that being said, I hope you have a great one. Like always, rock on, rip on, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye, everybody. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the pinned comment below. Consider joining our Frontier Prepper Squad or let an ad to you run. It really does make a difference. And always remember, those who prepare today will not struggle tomorrow.